There seems to be no end in sight to the lingering fuel scarcity as long queues are still seen in filling stations unabated across the country. While some fuel stations are outrightly closed, others are opened with stranded customers who have been in queue for most part of the day as fuel black marketers are milking their customers, selling the product right in front of the closed stations. Key players on the persistent fuel scarcity at a meeting, NNPC says the chaos caused by the irresponsible manner the oil and gas business operators must stop. While NNPC hinted that there is 45 days sufficiency in the country, the queues are disappointing, and complicit operators engaging in sharp practices must be brought to book. The realities on ground appears to be different from the promises made by the sole importer of petrol. What can be done to ease the situation? This and more the guests will address on Nigeria Today. I am Eucharia Clinton. Welcome to the program.
Find lasting solution to the persistent fuel scarcity. The meeting, which has in attendance the Chief of Defence Staff, General Lucky Rabo, Inspector General of Police Usman Alkali Baba, representative of Comptroller General of Customs, and the representative of the DSS, as well as other key players, is talking point blank, and key players are not mincing words.
The solution is in this room. We have a country. You are seeing the level of chaos our business can create to this country. And this is what we are doing, no matter what excuse we give, including NNPC. We cannot explain that this is not caused by us.
We have the mandate to sanction or to suspend any license or permit to operate. And we do not have any hesitation to do so.
For the top security leaders, the chaos of the oil and gas has risen to a proportion of concern for security of the country. The meeting, they reiterate, is to show that nobody is indispensable.
I trust that solution will come. And if there is no solution, let me reiterate that government is not handicapped and there is an alternative. But we pray that we do not get to the level where the alternative will be activated.
I think there is also an alternative to increase the level of monitoring and supervision.
They urge oil and gas business operators to be sensitive to the challenges of well-meaning Nigerians, or more stringent, unpalatable measures will be taken. Both Major Oil Marketers Association and Independent Petroleum Marketers Association acknowledge that the queues are becoming one too many as they give room for sharp practices.
But I assure you that once product is available to the right people at the right time, you'll find out that people will be begging. There were times we used to struggle to make just 2 naira per liter, just 2 naira, and you'll be fine with that. I think we're still going to have to go back to that.
They insist the national crisis occasioned by the needless scarcity can only be solved by the key players in the meeting. They reiterate that a country endowed with crude oil has no business battling continuous scarcity in the midst of plenty. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
Welcome back. Joining me via Zoom to discuss the lingering fuel scarcity is Segun Uduyebo, a public affairs analyst. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, Segun, I will just kick off immediately. The fuel scarcity has been on for quite a while, almost becoming a tradition. So what is your view on the situation?
Well, when you look at the situation, technically it looks as if that there seem to be some saboteurs behind this scheme. And it's not a new thing, because if you look at the last couple of years, we've been having the issue of either to remove the fuel subsidy or not. The Marketers Association are complaining, the importers are complaining, and all that. So there seem to be several angles to this matter. Of course, there are some people who also are projecting the idea of the fuel scarcity might be connected to the forthcoming election and all that. Maybe some of us find it a little bit difficult to believe that in totality, because this fuel scarcity has an history. And the history is the fact that there's a lot tied to the fuel subsidy. And I think we have not been able to solve that problem over the years. And I'm not sure we will get this out soon, unless that issue of fuel subsidy is sorted out, either to remove it or not to remove it. We saw a lot of scandal that came up the other time about some people making money out of that. The importers, some who didn't even import anything, and they are being paid subsidy and all that. And the government quarters also confirmed that people are collecting fuel subsidy money who really didn't import anything. It's so shameful that a country like ours that have abundance of crude oil should be going through this.
Now, you talked so much about the fuel, the subsidy. Do you think the removal of the fuel subsidy would help in solving this problem?
Well, I think that if the right structures are put in place, again, just like the way we have with the Naira issue, there could be very noble ideas, noble policies, but if the structures to make the implementation easy and smooth, if they are not in place, then there will be a problem. If you are going to do fuel subsidy, remove fuel subsidy, then we'll really be talking about our refinery working. We have to talking about other basic structure in the economy that makes it easier, so that when it is removed, it's not going to be that we are going to be totally at the mercy of what is happening all over the world alone. For example, now the dollar to Naira exchange. So if they can afford to buy buy 1 liter of fuel at $1 or $2 in United States, it might not be very easy for Nigerians to be subject to that, because our economy is not the same. So, because once the first is they are subject forces, is buying it in Afghanistan, whatever they are buying it in Europe, what we buy it in Nigeria. I think before we really, if first of this should help if the structures are in place. I think we should put that one.
Now, Shegun, you know, one would kind of wonder, a country like ours that we are rich in crude oil will be, you know, going through this kind of scarcity. You know, how did this trend find a nest to operate in the country?
I didn't get you there clearly. Please, can you come again?
I said, how did this trend find a nest to operate in the country? You know, given the fact that we are, you know, oil producing country.
Well, technically, if we have to be objective with ourselves, I think it's technically a leadership problem. Because if you look at other oil producing countries like ours, in other parts of the world, they somehow don't have the kind of problem we have. Even Libya in Africa here do not have this kind of problem that we have. Then it also boils down to some measure of greed. I mean, technically, a lot of greed. And this one has not, I mean, it's not only limited or restricted to only the leadership in terms of people who are in government. It cut across, because it will amaze you that even the normal average person on the street now has seen this as a situation to exploit. Then somebody goes to the fuel station, buy a liter of fuel at 180, and then comes out to want to sell it at 700, at 500, and all of that. So some measure of greed is involved in all of this. But the only area where we will blame it technically on leadership is that if the leadership can be bold enough to take the bull by the horn and really face the issue. I think this matter is like you have a cabal that are operating within that space, and they have seen it as their own area to milk the nation. And anybody who is coming in as president or whatever it is will need to really be bold to be able to take the bull by the horn and strike this thing once and for all. Of course, it might be a little difficult, but it has to be done.
Now, Shegun, during the introduction, we had the NNPC say we have a 45-day sufficiency, and each time we still see these queues, even on a daily basis, and surprisingly, in some states, talking about outside Abuja, looking at, well, I wouldn't want to mention states now, you see people just walking in to get fuel, but at an exorbitant price, So some Nigerians are pointing, accusing fingers to the marketers and the the independent marketers. How do you perceive this?
Well, I think a lot is going on in terms of diversion. I think the marketers are also not being patriotic enough, in the sense that some of them divert the fuel from one place to another. And don't be surprised, some of the fuel that is supposed to circulate within the nation find their way outside the country to other African countries, because people are going to make a little more money from that. Then too, the fuel that should get to some places to cushion effect there, they come to other places where the marketers think that they can make more money over it. So those are some of the problems we are having. For example, today I'm driving Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. It was by luck that we were able to get fuel at 3:30. Every other place was 450, 400. The cheapest was 390. So when we were able to see 330, we counted ourselves so fortunate. So you can imagine what we find ourselves. So I think the marketers are also not doing very well. They are not being patriotic.
Okay, right now we'll take a break, and the discussion continues after the break. Please don't go away. Welcome back. This is Nigeria Today, and we are discussing the lingering fuel scarcity, and my guest is still with me via Zoom, Shegun Oduyebo. Shegun, I know before the break you talked about the marketers and the possibility of diversion. Now, what is the best way to, in your opinion, or do you think we can end the fuel scarcity in Nigeria, because it's biting very hard?
Can you come again there, the last thing?
I said, what is the best way we can end the fuel scarcity, because it's becoming a huge problem. It's biting really hard.
Well, just like I said at the beginning of the discussion, unless we are able to fix our own refinery, deal with the issue of fuel subsidy, we might not really find an end. So if we are going to find an end, good enough, we're in the election year. I mean, the election is just by the corner. Whoever comes into government, or the set of people, because I don't like the idea of one person is going to do the magic. It takes a collective effort. So the president and his executive team, and those who are coming to the House of Assembly and the Senate, must be patriotic enough to make up their mind that they want to see our refineries work. Just imagine if you have 2 refineries in the nation that are fully functional. We won't have problem with all these skills that we are talking about, because these things will become bygone. But as long as those who are in government cannot make up their mind to face this thing once and for all, we might have a little challenge. So I think we should let's hopefully pray, and probably, if need be, all of us keep agitating that should be one of the areas that they should focus their energy, both the incoming Senate, the House of Rep, and then the executive. They should focus their attention on getting us working refinery. I mean, it's not rocket science. If Dangote, a man, just one man can be thinking of a refinery, I see no reason why we cannot have a standard refinery that will see to some of this. I think once we have 2 functioning refinery in the nation, and then NNPC, now that has been privatized, if it can do its job the way it's supposed to do, I believe that we will be good. But if they are thinking of just removing the fuel subsidy to expose us to the international market and make sure that we are then subjected to the forces of the market as it operates in the international world, without putting a structure to ensure that the naira to dollar exchange is regulated, then we are going to be suffering the poor masses.
You've talked about the president having the will, but a 14-man committee has been set up to make sure that this fuel scarcity ends. And of course, there's been a lot of high-power meetings. So I think the will is there. You know, so in all of this, I did not hear anything about the regulatory authorities. You know, even like presently, the diversion you talked about. If the diversion have been, you know, on, if there's something like that, then what then is the role of the regulatory authorities?
Well, again, you see, I'm happy that you know that you and I. It's sad to say it, but that's the reality. You and I in Nigeria, where a lot of things go. You know, there are certain things that are not permissible in other climes, but in our nation, you just find it so, because once you know your way, and you understand what I mean by you know your way, you are able to bribe the right people and set to the right people. I mean, a lot of things go. So the reality is that except we want to deceive ourselves, it doesn't matter how many measures they put in place to avoid diversion. Some of the people that are supposed to regulate them and monitor them will collect money and then allow them. We see that every day. You and I see that on the road every day. It's a function of settling the right people. And I mean, things we keep like. So the best way is to go for the jugular, go address the matter at the roots. And the root of this matter is ensure that our refinery is working, that nobody now need to import, refined crude oil for us. Isn't it very shameful that you have the raw product, you have the raw material, you have to take it overseas, pay to take it overseas, and then pay to bring the refined product back. You are not even paying to bring one product. You are going to be paying to bring several products back. So technically, we are the one at the losing end. That's exactly what happened with our cocoa and with agricultural products in those days. You know, you take the cocoa from Nigeria, you take it out, and then you export it out, and then you import chocolate, you import beverages that are made out of that cocoa. I mean, it's quite annoying. And
well, it's like we've lost him there. Well, that's the much. Okay, Shegun. Right. Shegun, can you hear me? Okay. Well, that's the much we can take on Nigeria today. A very big thank you to Shegun Uduyebo, a public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for your insight, and we do apologize for that break in transmission. Well, thank you very much for the contribution. And to our viewer, we thank you for keeping tab with the program every weekday by 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can also watch these and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. Once again, thank you for watching. I am Eukaria Clinton. Goodbye.